everybody, Matt again from Notes and Knobs. In this episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to get the steel guitar sound using a tremolo or a Floyd Rose, using the Tone Master Pro and the effects that are built in. So stick around, a lot more to come. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, leave me a comment, and as always, it's a great day for great gear. Hey everybody. So let's dive right on in. So I get asked quite often how I get my steel guitar sound, how I use the delay and the reverb to get more of a steel sound. Now, telling you this, I will say I definitely did not invent this or come up with this on my own. A gentleman that I've had the pleasure of playing with for several years now in bands and so forth, his name's Thomas Michaels. Wonderful, probably the greatest guitar player I've ever got to work with. I learned this directly from him, and he uses a Strat with a Floyd Rose on it to do these things, and I hope to get him on the program here before too long. Unfortunately, he's had a little bit of a neck and shoulder problem. He's had to have surgery, and he's not really able to play right now. But at any rate, this is where I learned it from, so I don't want to take any credit for it, and I'm definitely not as good as he is at it. However, I do want to show you kind of the settings for it and kind of a little bit behind the scenes of how you get that to project and how it sounds. Now, if you want to, this isn't meant to be a lesson on how to play steel guitar using these. If you want that, I will be posting a video on my other channel, which is called Matt's Music Academy. So if you hadn't checked that out, please click over to that and subscribe. And I'll be talking more about, you know, kind of how to play in that style. So this is much more of how I use the Tone Master, the delays and the reverbs, compression and so forth to get that sound. Now, to really get it, you're going to want a guitar with either a Floyd Rose or a good tremolo. I'm just using a PRS for this. Also, I'm going to have the settings for you linked to this actual patch, and you can download that for free if you want. Okay. So let's jump in. Oh, the other thing I was going to say, I don't have a camera, but I've got the Tone Master at my feet because I'm going to have to use the volume and so forth. But here is the change. So in this, I'm just using a bassman for this. You can see where I've got it dual amped up and so forth, two different cabinets. I'm really just using that more as an EQ. And the delay. Let me just give you just kind of my clean sound here. So that's the sound of this patch. Okay, and this is, even on any guitar, this is my main patch to where when you're doing kind of slow songs, slow ballads, you know. When you're doing, even without a tremolo, those kind of licks. Now you've heard me say it several times. That might sound like a lot of delay. And all by itself it is, but you'll see here in a minute, I'll put on a loop and play along with it, and you'll see how lost that delay gets real quick. And with a band, it's even worse. You know, it will disappear really fast. When you're setting it at home or in your ears, it's always going to be way more than you think. Okay? So let's just dive into this. So whatever amp you use and so forth is fine. The trick here, or not even trick, is really just having a lot of delay. So I'm using this reverb, and for this I'm actually going to turn it up to a 3, about a 3. Let's see what we get here. Okay, really wanting that sound. I don't want to mess with the tone. Over here on the delay, now this is kind of the big one. Now, for the feedback, you're always going to want, most of the time if I'm not doing the steel guitar stuff, I want my feedback longer and the volume lower. All right, but for this we're going to turn it up. I want more feedback, meaning I want a lot more of those trails. Trust me, they're going to get lost real fast. The time's going to be about 365, 366, so that's where I want it. And I just know that from experience. As you can see, it's already getting that sound. Makes the guitar big. Now look, if I turn that off, let's bypass that. No delay. Still has a good sound. And we could get by with some steel stuff with that. Right? But I'm going to show you in a minute, a lot of what we do in this steel guitar stuff is chiming. And you can get some chimes, right? And where I'm, especially where you're pre-bending, so the steel guitar will pre-bend that, or not pre-bend, it'll pre-play, so I'm chiming here, and then I'm swelling in with my foot. Well, watch the difference when I add this delay, what that does. Big difference. So really, and I'm going to tell you now, when I add a track, we're probably going to want even more delay. But, you know, if I'm doing something like Cold, Cold Heart, let's say, just... Right? So what I'm going to do is turn up the mix a little bit. In other words, I want to hear, right? Sounds like a lot. But to really get that full, helps those long delays, like I said, when we're chiming, when I'm pre-chiming, that's how you really, when you're bending in with that volume, you really need those delays. Sounds like a lot. Okay, so let's put this with a backing track and see what happens. All right, so let's lay down a quick backing track. And obviously I'm using this as the looper as well, so just another great feature in the Tone Master. All right, so there we go. All right, let's switch back, see what we got. So let's put this with the looper and see what we have. Here's those pre-chimes. Yeah, you don't hear those delays like you did. those delays, you can really, it's cool because you can really exaggerate, you know, trying to simulate those bends. Right? Okay. So it goes on and on. So you see those delays really disappear, you know, when that backing track. And your guitar has to be a little brighter than you're used to. When you're really playing those notes, I want to be able to hear those playing. So the delay really, and volume, and compressor really. So I'm pre-playing this A minor triad, and I'm swelling into it. And that's really how you get that sound, you know. So you've got to have those delays and that mix up sort of cut through. So there's a lot to it. Again, if you want a lesson on kind of how to use those steel bends and where to put them and so forth, check out my other channel, Matt's Music Academy. I hope this helped answer some questions. It was helpful. Again, I'm going to put the patch in the description, and you can, if you've got a Tone Master already, you can download it absolutely for free. As always, please make sure to like and subscribe. Please leave a comment. You liked it, you didn't like it, whatever the case is. And then if you're interested in a Tone Master or anything else, any of the other gear I'm using, please use, there's links in the description. I have 6 children. Would be greatly appreciated. Again, hope this helps. It's always a great day for great gear. We'll see you next time.